We talking about sports, get ball.
What it do, baby? Yeah.
What it do, you number one podcast listeners? You didn't think I'd take another hiatus after I just took one, did you?
Congratulations.
I'm back better than ever. The number one podcast in your headphones, Creme Brulee. In this episode, I'm joined by my cousin, Roshan Bhatt. Welcome back, my cuz, big bro.
What's good? What's good?
Happy to have you back.
Yes, sir. Glad to be back.
Appreciate you jumping on here. It's NFL playoffs time, so there's no time to fuck around here. We got to have like a full-ass episode.
Yeah,
so
you can't,
we can't be dropping the ball.
Don't ever
for
play
sure.
yourself.
Can't get caught
Don't
sleeping
ever
right
play
now.
yourself.
Amen.
Don't
I
ever
already
play
took a little
yourself.
mini hiatus. I told you I was back, so I'm a man of my word.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
All right, without further ado, let's get going, man.
Let's do it.
And we got a spicy episode because I know I got the right guest for this first topic. And the first one is a Mr. James Harden traded to the Brooklyn Nets. So the disgruntled star wanted out of Houston, your home, H-Town. Go Stros, baby.
Go Stros.
Don't ever play yourselves. So this 4-team deal sent Harden to the Nets. Karis LeVert went to the Pacers, which, by the way, thank God he got traded because in his physical they found some mass on his kidney, I believe it was. So might have like saved his life in a weird way. So, I mean, I hope he's okay, but it's important they found that thing, and hopefully he's okay, even though he's from the team up north. He's still a really good player, so hopefully he gets to see the floor again. Also, a haul of picks went the other way. So 3 first-round picks and 4 first-round pick swaps went over to the Rockets. The other person that went over there was Oladipo and some other Brooklyn Nets players nobody cares about. Somehow the Cavs got roped into this and wound up with Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince, which is paying huge dividends already. I don't know how they ended up with such a good young center, but I'm sure they'll take it just for being thrown in as a fourth team, I guess. James Harden traded the Nets. Let's pause that. We also want to note that Kyrie Irving was apparently absent recently because he needed a pause. That was his words. He was gonna be featured on You Played Yourself, but mental health ain't nothing to joke about or rant about. So I hope he's already using professional resources because as a professional, in my opinion, so this is semi You Played Yourself in the most professional way. Usually Kyrie Irving finds himself squarely on it and deservedly so. But unfortunately, as a professional, he still has a responsibility as a leader and a teammate. It appears he knows that, but I feel like there's a better way to handle it. He has the best intentions in mind. He really cares about social justice. That should be applauded. But he could put that money he earns from the missed game checks he forfeited towards social justice initiatives. I mean, we can rant about all that all day, but Kyrie Irving was absent for like the first 2 James Harden games. They're all back together now. But I wanted to get your take. After James Harden, after all that intro, yeah, fam or nah, the Nets are favorites in the East now with King Snake, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, more spiritual than you, Irving, and James, got to hit the strip club Harden. Are they the favorites? Yeah, fam or nah, Roach?
Because I'm a hater, I'm gonna go with nah, fam. Just gotta say,
sound that shit, baby.
Just gotta say, I've been to Brooklyn and I live in Houston, and I know that the strip clubs aren't better in Brooklyn.
First of all, you're not gonna speed
just for the
past that. Like, you
record.
didn't just say what you just said.
Other than that,
Congratulations, you played yourself.
other than that, I mean, I hated the whole ordeal. It was like pulling teeth around here, watching Harden show up, after camp, miss camp. Apparently he was like out of shape and all this stuff, but then once he gets back to the Nets, he looks like he's in shape. Was he wearing some kind of fat suit, or I don't know what the hell was going on with all that? There was all these memes about it. I mean, he had announcers like roasting him, and I was just like, man, what the hell is going on? And it just, the whole ordeal was like just really sour and just handled piss poorly. I think the Rockets did really well in the trade. I don't think that it was manageable having him here. He was just going to become, very toxic personality in the locker room. Apparently everyone hated his ass. Boogie was like talking shit about him the second he left. And when Boogie's talking shit about a guy, for being disrespectful, you kind of got to hear that, it says a lot. So,
for sure.
Other than that, back to them being a favorite thing, I just want to use this time to say that King Snake has never won a meaningful game without a super team. He was on the Golden Snake Warriors. He had 2 top 20 players on his team. Now that Harden's there, he has arguably 2 top 6 players on his team. And
it's honestly ridiculous.
And, I was really looking forward to rooting for the Brooklyn Nets just because, I wanted to see Kyrie and KD play. It seemed like it would have been really fun. Stacking the deck with Harden.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see Kevin Durant get his first ring.
Absolutely. I love the guy. I love the guy before when he was in OKC. So I was ready for him to get back on my good side. But Harden going there just kind of stacks the deck in a really stupid way. And, if they do win a ring, it'll just be his, third asterisk ring and Harden's first. So, what difference does it make at that point?
So I'm a fam. They have to be the favorites in the East. Like, you just said it. They're like 3 top 6 players. If you're not planning to win the East, like, you should quit basketball, honestly. Like,
yeah.
What are we talking about here? Who's challenging them? Giannis isn't doing it. Mr. 1 for 10 free throws. Lucky to have Chris Middleton on his team carrying his ass. Like, there's no one challenging the Nets, and there shouldn't be, honestly. Yes, they need to work on defense, whatever. In the playoffs, there's no reason they should lose to anyone in the East, and it would be an utter disappointment if they don't make the finals. Legitimately, they should not miss the NBA Finals. That should be bare minimum. If they fall anywhere short of that, this season is a failure.
Absolutely.
I know we use that tongue-in-cheek. However, I'm still picking the Lakers. We're going to talk about James Harden a little bit more, but I do want to talk about, like, we're going to talk a little bit about this too, like minority coaches in any professional sport. You have someone that people were genuinely happy about getting a job in Steven Silas on the Rockets. And this man, James Harden, half-assed it so much, didn't even give this guy a chance to win to start his first head coaching job. And that's super unfortunate. It's super unfortunate. I don't want to spoil too much of it later, but I will say, yes, the Rockets got as much as they could get back, and hopefully it sets them up for a better future. They did great with picking up Oladipo, and the thing with Oladipo is he's a serviceable player now, but his contract's expiring, so if they choose to not sign him, they have a lot of money to mess with, especially by letting go of Harden. So more on that later, but I'm a fam. They should be favorites in the East. Throw a big-ass asterisk on it. All right, I got one more topic for you.
All right.
Before we get to you played yourself, your favorite section, my favorite section, we call it microphone therapy.
Absolutely.
But, fam or not, over to the NFL. This is the beginning of a new era for the Cleveland Browns. So, a little background before I get your take. The Browns lost in the divisional round to the Chiefs 22-17. They had a chance for the upset after being down 19-3 at halftime. Their defense couldn't get a stop after Patrick Mahomes went out of the game. Was this year a fluke, or is it the start of something different in Cleveland? Fam or nah, beginning of a new era for the Cleveland Browns.
I'm going to go ahead and say yeah. I found that their games were really fun to watch. You catch a lot of stuff on Red Zone, and just watching their offense just kind of click on all cylinders is like really shocking. It feels like it's been like my entire life has gone by without them ever being good at anything. So I'm happy for the city of Cleveland to have a good football team at least. But Baker seems to be a lot more comfortable with this new, run first offense. It kind of frees him up a little bit. Seeing Odell Beckham go out kind of sucked. I feel bad for the guy. He was stuck in shitty ass New York and then ended up in shitty ass Cleveland. And then the year that they're good and end up in the playoffs, he's sitting on pine with the torn ACL. But and
it was on a interception.
Yeah.
Return trying to make a tackle.
Yeah, the whole thing sucked. And despite them like going ahead and signing Kareem Hunt, which fucking sucks, but the product is solid. It's fun to watch. And yeah, I think it's if they tighten up their defense and they keep most of their pieces intact, I don't see why they shouldn't even win the division next year, because Pittsburgh's going to be toast. They're like in salary cap hell or something. I think the Ravens are I just think the Browns have a way higher ceiling. I think the Ravens' ceiling was last year. Once they figured out, how Lamar works, and until Lamar gets his like passing game like going, B+ or higher, I don't think the Ravens are built for a championship.
You forgot to mention the Bengals.
Oh, yeah. I forgot they were a team.
That's awkward.
Get Burrow and ACL. Get Burrow and O-line. Sorry, his ACL, man. Come on,
They need to. They were on last episode. They played themselves. They had a real opportunity to get the best tackle in the draft coming up, and hopefully they get lucky and Penei Sewell falls to them because yes, they need to protect Burrow with everything in them. Yeah, speaking of pieces, they have some pieces. It's
for
just,
sure.
If you can't keep your number one pick upright, but anyway, we don't need to focus on them. So I'm a fam to this. I think this just feels different. You kind of hinted at it. I think Kevin Stefanski seems like the right fit. I do think they're going to let Odell Beckham go in free agency. I just think they function pretty well, unfortunately, without him. And I wouldn't be surprised. We just talked about the team. How much could a team like the Ravens use Odell Beckham?
Yeah.
Like, Lamar Jackson loves the middle of the field. You could run slants all day with him. You could stretch the field with him and open up the middle for their tight ends. They love throwing to the tight ends, all that. I think Odell Beckham's going to walk. But Cleveland has other priorities. Just like you mentioned, their running game, they got to have contract extensions for Nick Chubb, who's arguably the most important piece on their offense because Baker's better when they run the ball. Everything's better when they run the ball.
For sure.
And Denzel Ward on defense. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks, baby.
He has been... Those two guys came from the same fucking draft, too.
Yeah.
What a draft by them. And Denzel Ward, I think, is a cornerstone corner. They need to keep him. And we're forgetting all these things. The Browns have two big young players coming back that got hurt for the year in Greedy Williams and Grant Delpit, who are very high picks.
I totally forgot about Delpit.
Yeah, both LSU guys actually happens to be, but they have people coming back, and they had some injuries at the end of the year, like Olivier Vernon went out, so that was a big loss for them on the defensive line. I think they're set up to do really well. They really did play themselves in that Chiefs game, though. I think we kind of breezed past it. I don't think they should have punted on that, what ended up being their last drive.
That was painful.
Yeah. How many times have we seen that, with our teams, don't fucking punt it? Went through it with Jason, when Jason Garrett was the coach of the Cowboys. Stop fucking doing it.
I mean, against premier offenses. You can't give a premier offense a free possession. That the game is over.
Exactly. You might have faith in your defense, but I'd rather show faith in my offense because if they were going to give up that drive anyway, let them give up a field goal sometimes. Sure. Sometimes it's just easier. If you didn't convert, they're in field goal territory. Let them bend but don't break. They kick a field goal, and then you're down 8, and it's still a one-possession game. It would have been 25-17.
Yeah.
But anyway, even more so, they played themselves by giving up a fucking 16-yard run to Chad Henne from the team up north.
Bro,
just utter trash.
That was so hard to watch.
Come on, fam. You played yourself. And one more thing, Browns, with everything in your being, hold on to that offensive line coach, Bill Callahan. He is the key. I miss him so much from the Cowboys. He is behind every good running attack, and he should be a priority to hang on to. And everything on the offense should listen to them. The Browns are much better when they focus on running the ball. Everyone who's a couch coach like you and I are knows when they get pass happy, they lose ball games. The key is Nick Chubb and unfortunately Kareem Hunt. They have a two-headed monster for a reason. They have Hunt signed, I think, through 2022. They need to extend Nick Chubb's contract so they can continue that. They got an offensive line. They bolstered it. That's the key. And then Baker can run the play action. He can do the rollouts, and he'll start getting on a roll with that. But he needs the run game. It's been proven by now. You can't win going through him. It's got to go through the run game. But yes, all right. Now, it's time for the reason everybody comes here. We're always good for a good rant or two. Now that I've had my family join, you can see it runs in the bloodlines. So, without further ado, it's time for You Played Yourself.
I'm petty as hell. And I'm super petty.
Here we
Petty Le Pew.
go.
All right, first up on You Played Yourself, I kind of hinted at it earlier, talking about the NBA coaching minority candidates, but I wanted to go over to the NFL. We're going to talk a little bit about the head coaching vacancies that happened this offseason, but I wanted to get a chance to have you played yourself to NFL head coaching jobs and their lack of minority candidates. There's been a lot of progress in the NFL, especially with front office. I believe the Lions hired a black GM. Washington football team promoted a woman in a prominent role. There's a lot of good happening, so I don't want that to get lost. But we can't use the history of this good old boys club of the NFL and just a little bit of progress gives them a fucking free pass. This set of coaches that were hired, it's fucking atrocious that someone like Eric Bieniemy doesn't have a job yet. So I wanted to give you played yourself to the lack of minority head coaching candidates. It doesn't seem to be happening. You pick up all these obscure candidates that just happen to be white from everywhere. You had the Colts offensive coordinator get a job for Philly when you don't see that same effort being made to grab a potential hot coaching hire who happens to be a minority. You pick up all these random obscure coaches from God knows where, but we can't do the same due diligence in the NFL with minority candidates. Like, I heard this on ESPN's Get Up. Ryan Clark or Dominique Foxworthy talking about how nobody calls someone like Byron Leftwich, who's the offensive coordinator. He was responsible for Jameis Winston's 5,000-yard season last year, and this year has completely revamped the system, given it's Tom Brady, obviously the greatest of all time, but nobody's considering him. Instead, we have these random-ass candidates being interviewed that mean nothing to anyone, but yet they get a shot. Nobody knew who the fuck Joe Judge was last year, but here we are. We can't find a minority candidate except for Robert Saleh of the Jets, who definitely paid his dues and was probably overdue to getting a job as well. But I just feel like the NFL deserves a big old you played yourselves, because these little bits of progress they make don't give them a free pass for not making real palpable progress. There needs to be more in the NFL, and there needs to be, in a league full of minorities, where's the representation at the top for head coaching jobs, for more GM jobs? It's like making a mockery of this Rooney Rule. They're just interviewing them just to interview them. Yeah,
it's pretty hard to watch. And like just some of the jobs that were taken, or I guess given in this case, like LA's DC got a job, I believe. Isn't he the Chargers coach now?
Yeah.
So he's just moving across the city to another team. I mean, I know the Rams defense was like, I think either top 1 or 2, wasn't it, overall? But I mean,
yeah. It helps when you coach Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey.
Oh no shit! I mean, come on. And then like the worst one by fucking far was Dan Campbell to the Lions. They're going from shit coach.
They'll bite your kneecap off.
Yeah, from shit coach in Patricia to a probably even shittier coach in Dan Campbell. There's nothing about him. I mean, a Saints tight end coach, were the Saints tight end group even good? I mean, not really. How the fuck is he getting an offer, and what did he do to get it? And then his press conference, the kneecap thing, I was just like,
we're going to kick you in the teeth, all right? And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right? And we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down, all right? And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Where are we? What year is this? And this is like Greg Williams bullshit. Like, leave this shit in the past. It's so meat-headed and like obnoxious. And I couldn't it was so cringe. And like people were hyping it up like, if this doesn't fire you up, I don't know what will. I'm like, that absolutely doesn't fire me up. Also, biting a kneecap is definitely a 15-yard penalty. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like, what the fuck?
That's probably a charge. Like, fuck a penalty. Like, you're getting charged.
I'm like, come on, dude. And then, yeah, the Colts OC, and then there's like one other one that I couldn't remember.
Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of his name. Forgive me. I'd never heard of him. I literally had to look him up.
We play them twice a year, and I didn't even know the name. I know Frank Reich calls the fucking plays.
If you're plucking a coordinator from Indianapolis, why wouldn't you get their defensive coordinator?
I can't even tell you. And
it makes no fucking sense. Like, some of these candidates that are... Yeah, Dan Campbell is one of them. And you're talking about, speaking of that, a franchise that fired Jim Caldwell. They haven't had as good of a record since Jim Caldwell left, and they fired him for going 9-7. So, oh, by the way, Jim Caldwell just happens to be a minority candidate.
Yeah, shocker.
Do with that what you will. Shocker. Okay. I think you and I are going to enjoy this one before we get back to the NFL. So, you played yourself, Ghost, to Paul George, Mr. PG-13, Mr. Where Is He during the playoffs? So,
Playoff P, baby.
Playoff P. Pandemic P. So he said, quote, "I'm coming back with vengeance. I didn't like not so much the noise and everything around the way last season ended, but just the fact that people saw weakness. And I had to address that. I had to answer that. That fueled me. That put me in a place where I wanted to come back and be myself again." End quote. So his numbers at some point recently were around 20. He's averaging around 25 points per game this season, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, around those numbers. Fam, Paul. I'm going to call you Paul because I don't think you deserve nicknames right now. Paul, we didn't see weakness. We saw you fucking suck. Your regular season numbers have never been the issue either. So yeah, keep balling, but it doesn't matter until you show up in the playoffs. Clayton Kershaw head ass.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
You'd be lucky if you get an asterisk ring. Maybe a season will be cut short, and you can get a ring just like Clayton Kershaw's ass.
From the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Yeah, sound it. I don't give a fuck.
Paul George has in the last 2-3 years just become my absolute least favorite player. I didn't think it was possible to dislike anyone more than Draymond, but I've found a way somehow, and Paul George is that guy. Every year he just fucking runs his mouth, and he has these like boisterous moments where he hits like one game winner in some meaningless game, and he's just like, you know, has his head up his own ass. And then every year in the playoffs, I mean, we saw him play against LeBron for 8 years and just disappear. They had the 1 seed like 2 times over LeBron. Both times he got checked. And I mean, this is like him and James Harden are the same fucking player. They should definitely be on a team together just so everyone could be entertained. Because I don't understand how Paul George gets all this reverence during the regular season and nobody shit talks the guy. And I mean, I'll give it to everybody else for talking shit about James Harden when he gets to the playoffs. No one gives Paul George the same treatment. We saw, like you said,
he really does get a free pass.
He gets a free pass every fucking year. I mean, his team blew a 3-1 lead, and they didn't get clowned nearly as much. And then he's over here speaking about like, oh, I didn't feel like it was a championship season. I was like, bro, if I heard my teammates say that shit in a year where you guys demanded trades and came over here, I'd be like, fuck this guy. You know, like, I don't want this guy leading my team. I'd be pissed as hell.
Yeah. What the fuck do you think was happening? Kawhi ran a fucking commercial at the beginning of this season that set those expectations. Yeah. And they traded 4 first-round picks. The Clippers mortgaged their whole future for you.
Yeah.
What about that screams that wasn't a championship season? What the fuck you there for then?
I was failing to see that.
Get
and
out
I'm
of
just
here.
like, come on.
Like, if you need that motivation, fine. But we weren't ever questioning your regular season. That's not what any of this is about. Yeah. Like, who the fuck cares that you're balling in the regular season?
Yeah.
It's like people resting half the time.
For sure. And Paul George, I mean, until he shows up in June, it's going to be the same shit over and over. So I don't know when the season's actually supposed to end.
June. He's got to make the play. June. He's got to make the.
He's got to make the end of May
make it past a certain round. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
and June's giving him too much credit.
I mean, yeah.
That's when champions play.
For sure.
Back to the NFL. I wanted to give a quick "you played yourself" to the LA Rams. So Jalen Ramsey, yes, he's like so talented, one of the best corners in the league, if not the best. But I don't like the guy. I mean, it's flat out. I have I do have a reason for it, but I don't like him. Anyway, Jalen Ramsey mocked the Seahawks being mic'd up. So the Seahawks, when they won the NFC West, I think it was in the last week of the regular season, a few of them were mic'd up, and they were talking about wanting their T-shirts and cigars for winning the division, because obviously a team gets those when they clinch the division, get an automatic playoff spot. So the Rams started mocking them after they beat them in the first round of the playoffs, saying, you can take your T-shirts and your cigars on your way to Cabo, all that stuff, right? So the issue is the Rams then turn around the next week and got beat by the Packers. And Jamal Adams hit him with the See Ya on Cabo, Rams NFL, and make sure y'all bring your own damn cigars too. So you may ask, first let's sound it. Kudos to Jamal Adams for dishing it back to him and
Always
paying attention to the mic'd up that gets posted.
Always.
So you may ask, why would you grant the petty alert to Adams and the Seahawks? They lost and were out of the playoffs earlier. What the fuck does it matter when you get eliminated? You didn't get to the Super Bowl. It's all the same. In fact, by being out earlier, the Seahawks get better draft picks than the Rams. Obviously, for these two teams, that doesn't matter. I'm acknowledging the fact that these two teams happen to be ones that made trades and don't have a first-round pick because of the two players we mentioned, Jalen Ramsey and Jamal Adams.
That's pretty neat, actually.
Both these teams, yeah, it is pretty neat. So what the fuck does it matter that they're eliminated if everybody's in Cabo? So I sounded that petty alert because you could talk all this shit. It still means something to win a division. They still beat you to win the division. What the fuck does it matter when you get eliminated? Unless you make the Super Bowl, every elimination's the same in my opinion.
Yeah, they're definitely the same. I like that fun fact, by the way. I didn't know that them two were the reasons why their first round picks were missing, but that's pretty cool. I just like the petty alert being sounded just for the fact that you keep receipts and then you cash in on it. That like the pure, like unadulterated
it's back and forth.
Yeah.
You talk shit. And that's the risk you pay. And part of it is like, I need to sound the petty alert because I hate shit talkers and I love when they have to eat their words. Like,
for sure.
It gives me so much fucking joy because I'm usually like, when it's my own teams, I talk no shit because it never works out for me. And I hate the people it does work out for. Like, you want those people to lose so badly because they're just the worst kind of winners. And we all have a friend or two like that. That's like that. It's like, you secretly are like, man, I hope their team loses so they just shut the fuck up because they're the sorest winners of all time. That's like all these shit talkers. Jalen Ramsey deserves it.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I guess that wasn't, I couldn't remember because it all kind of blurred together. But yeah, the Rams traded for Jalen Ramsey, so that pick goes to Jacksonville. And the Seahawks traded for Jamal Adams, so that pick goes to the Jets. So that's the reason why those two teams have no first round picks, and those other two shit teams who just filled head coaching vacancies, that'll be a segue for later.
Yeah.
Have 2 first round. Okay. We promised we'd get back to this, and I'm counting on you for this one as as speaking for the entirety of H-Town here. So I wanted to, let me introduce this for you and tee it up for you nice and easy, like you're at Topgolf or something. So you played yourself goes to James Harden. James Harden, on his way out, I think as one of his first interviews in Brooklyn, said the following, quote, "I wasn't disrespectful to anyone. I made a comment that the team as a whole wasn't good enough to compete for a title. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to anybody, especially to the organization." End quote. Just real quick, before I give you the floor here, real quick. So a team wasn't good enough to compete for a title. This is the same team you told to go get Dwight Howard. They got him. You told them to go get Chris Paul. They got him. Then you had them go get your boy Russell Westbrook, gone after just one season. You're an MVP, a scoring champ, and the reason the team is built the way it is still, but it's not good enough. Fam, I think your mirror might not be good enough, actually. And this quote is like when someone tells you, "I'm not trying to be an asshole," but then goes on to prove why they're an asshole.
Yeah.
The Nets assembled an entertaining squad that'll undoubtedly be the villains of the NBA, and they deserve every bit of it. When King Snake Kevin Durant is your least villainy villain, you got problems. Lakers in 6, baby.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how we root for the Lakers now? I never thought in a million years I'd be rooting for the Lakers, but LeBron does wondrous things.
Listen, it's all about LeGod James. Yeah. I root for the Los Angeles LeBrons.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, as a Houstonian, I root for the Rockets reluctantly. And the only reason for that is because I have LeBron in my back pocket to bandwagon at any given moment. So whenever things go wrong with the Rockets, I'm like, doesn't matter. I'm a LeBron fan. Who gives a shit? And so every year when Harden chokes his way out of the playoffs in some extremely embarrassing fashion, like getting pickpocketed by Manu Ginobili or missing 27 fucking threes. I'm like, it doesn't matter. LeBron's about to be in the finals anyway, so I don't really care. But I can't get that quote out of my head because when he said it, I couldn't fucking roll my eyes far back enough. Because everything that this team has done, everything that Morey did, everything that D'Antoni did was to make Harden happy. Harden was an extremely diva dude who really didn't have the resume to back up that diva attitude. You know, he had everything go his way in Houston, and I know there's like a bunch of articles that like basically said that, you know, this dude could fly to fucking Vegas on 2 days off in a row, go party, and then come back, and they let him skip practice because, you know, he'd come back in the game and drop fucking 40-point triple-double, and I mean, that's badass. I love that shit.
Yeah.
At the same time, you know, the team is building a team around you. Like you said, they got Dwight. Dwight fucking hated Harden, so their chemistry was very apparent. Like it never seemed like they ever got along. And Dwight was really good when he got here. Just for the record, Dwight wasn't a chump.
Yeah, prime of his career.
Dwight, people act like Dwight was disgraced from the NBA for a while, and people act like Dwight sucked when he got here. He was fresh out of Orlando. He was fucking good. He was like 4 times All NBA. He was. I mean, I was excited.
This is right after he shafted the Lakers.
Yeah, I was like super excited to actually see him in a Rockets uniform because I was like, this shit is about to be fun as hell. Pick and roll with Dwight and James Harden is about to be badass. Yep. Anyway, you know, then Chris Paul and then Russ, and like the one thing about that really bugs me is not running it back with Chris Paul. That shit grinds my gears because I'm like, you were better than the Warriors that year. You were a hamstring away from walking to a fucking title. Because, I mean, let's face it, that Cavs team wasn't beating anyone in the West. There's just no way. They got steamrolled by the Snakes, and they would have got steamrolled by the Rockets. That Rockets team was so good. I don't know what in Harden's mind got so fidgety where he was like, fuck that. I was like, Chris Paul and Harden, that experiment sounded like a disaster. It worked so well. They were so hard to beat. I mean, the Warriors couldn't even figure them out. And, like, these top defensive teams couldn't figure it out. And so saying that these teams weren't good enough after you basically, you know, everyone jokes about LeBron being the GM, but, like, he does it at least undercover, you know? James Harden was, like, publicly demanding these things according to everyone in the locker room. You know, he was like, I can't play with Chris Paul anymore, probably because Chris Paul fucking shows up to practice and has a family and doesn't go to strip clubs. So he's like, fuck this. But then you trade for another family man in Russ. Like, you should have gotten Paul George. That's what you should have gotten. Yeah. You should have just fucking gotten Paul George so y'all could party all the time.
For sure.
And I never understood that. And while we're here, me as a LeBron fan in Houston and talking a lot of shit about Harden, people are like, well, how are you a fan of LeBron? You know, he's blah, blah, blah. He's gone to all these different teams. I'm like, he has waited till the end of the contract every single time. Not once has he demanded a trade from anybody, especially in his first stint in Cleveland. The fact that he didn't demand a trade during those like 8 years is incredible because those teams were fucking abysmal. Like, just for fun, if you forgot, go look at his finals roster from 2007 and be like, how did anyone not demand a trade after that? He had to go to the finals with the scrubs of scrubs and somehow drag them by the feet to the finals. And it's amazing. You know, he waited till his contracts were up, and he also had the winning pedigree to earn that right. You know, these guys, Paul George and Harden, even Kawhi, they demanded trades like mid-season or whatever it was without having the winning pedigree. And like even Kawhi, he ended up forcing a trade to a team that was the top 2 seeds for like 3 straight years without him. And so they basically just upgraded DeRozan. So his quote-unquote winning culture is him just upgrading DeRozan, and he won a title with them. I mean, that's not really that impressive. And like
against an injured...
Yeah, against the Warriors. And then he leaves, and Toronto still gets to the playoffs and does pretty well in the playoffs. So none of that shit was impressive long after the fact. So this Harden thing is just trash. I will admit, I like the highlight reels. I'll probably watch a few Nets games and like reluctantly cheer. But you know, when the playoffs come around, I will definitely be rooting for them to lose.
He just did things in such a wrong way. He never gave his new teammates a chance. He didn't show up. He was not professional in the least bit.
Yeah.
in his time in Houston. And if you looked at his stats, you could tell he was just packing it in with Houston because he was averaging the lowest point average he's had ever. Well, in the longest time, ever since he's been in Houston. And then as soon as he gets to the Nets, first 3 games, he has 2 triple-doubles.
No.
Like,
it's pretty funny.
Like, that's the shit that's like, we're talking about
it's hard to defend.
Professionals here. Like, we talked about it with Kyrie a little. His intentions were in the right place, but that's just an utter lack of respect for the game and for your teammates. And people like Boogie Cousins are right calling him out. It's just bullshit. Like, the way you treat your teammates, even if you have no intention to be there, fucking show up, man.
Yeah.
Until they send you home. You made them send you home. Like, that's some bullshit.
Yeah, and not to mention, like, going back to what you said about Coach, Steven Silas is, like, a pretty innovative guy. And, I mean, he basically sabotaged his entire gig. And, you know, Christian Wood is a fucking baller, by the way.
Yep.
I think pick and roll with Harden and Wood, a guy who can shoot threes and pretty much fucking dominate everywhere else, it's kind of a missed opportunity on Harden's part. Especially John Wall's pretty back to form, which is surprising also. I mean, I think
he hasn't played in so long, so he's still getting back to form.
I think if Harden fucking showed up to camp and gave it a go, I don't see any reason why Rockets wouldn't have been a top 5 seed in the West. I mean, I don't see it.
I know. Now, he's fortunate to not still be in the West because they sure as hell weren't being the Lakers. So from that sense, that's fine. But I think you and I are both in agreement. If he thought his time in Houston was over, there's a better way to go about doing it. Like, at least be respectful to the game and your teammates that you're eventually going to leave so that you don't leave in that fucking sour way.
Yeah, now he's about to get a bunch of hard fouls his way when he plays Rockets.
Oh, yeah, and he deserves every bit of them.
Yeah, Boogie's about to get ejected for sure.
Absolutely. I would love if they were still in the same conference so they played each other.
I know.
That wraps up. You played yourself. Now it's time for who you got and what you feeling. I wanted to recap last episode who you got. Vish joined me last episode, and we talked NFL playoffs. We made our picks for the championship round, and both of us were correct. We both picked the Chiefs Bills in the AFC and the Packers Bucks in the NFC championship game. So we actually got that one right. I know that a lot of those, I feel like the AFC, a lot of people were going that way, but the NFC, especially that Bucks Saints game, was the split between most folks. I think some people maybe thought the Ravens could have upset the Bills, but we went with the top 2 seeds in the AFC, and then a Rodgers-Brady matchup. Then we talked about the NFL head coaching jobs, which one was the best opening, which one was the worst. Of course, by now we know the candidates were the Eagles, Chargers, Jags, Jets, Lions, Falcons, and, of course, your Texans. Maybe not yours for much longer. We both agreed that the Eagles was the worst opening and the Chargers was the best. The Eagles filled theirs with the aforementioned Nick Sirianni. And the Chargers hired the defensive coordinator from the Rams, Brandon Staley. So I guess the guy didn't have to move. That's kind of nice for him.
That's pretty clutch.
Same stadium, too. Yeah, so we both talked about that. I think we also mentioned the nice little abundance of picks that the Jags and Jets have, so that's pretty enticing. Okay, and that brings us to this week's picks. Obviously, we're going to go NFL and make our picks for who we think is going to reach the Super Bowl. First up is NFC Championship game. The number 1 seed Packers earn their home field advantage. They are 3-point favorites against the 5 seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They faced each other, and it was a blowout the first time. Who you got for the NFC Championship, Roche?
I think the Packers will win, but I'm going to go ahead and root for the Bucs just because, for one, I hate Rodgers way more than I ever hated Tom Brady. And at this point, I really just can't help but marvel at Brady and just what he's doing. He's 43, and I know the Bucs are loaded with talent, but they just plugged him in, no training camp, and these fuckers are in the conference championship. That's incredible to me.
Unbelievable.
As a 5
I feel
seed,
like they finally. I feel like they finally let him just run the offense.
It's amazing.
Really just let it go.
And like watching like the end stretch of Brady and like his stats, like just from fantasy, like I'm like, this dude's throwing 350 yards, 4 touchdowns a week, and I'm like, dudes in their prime aren't even throwing this shit right now, and I'm just like, this is crazy. At this point, we got to be like, he's not on the Patriots anymore. We just got to enjoy the shit because there ain't gonna be anyone like this dude ever again. So just whatever, man. It's a hard L to take. It's hard to renege all those like shit talking you did for the last 20 years. But props to Brady. He's the fucking GOAT, man.
Yeah, I'm going with the Packers in this game. I don't know if your pick is different from who you're rooting for. Are you going with the Bucks?
I think the Packers will win, but I'm going to root for the Bucks.
Okay. All right. So I'm going with the Packers. I just think they have. I mean, speaking of playing incredible, Aaron Rodgers in the second year of his system with Matt LaFleur is just absolutely thriving.
Balling.
I think this is an important game for his legacy. I feel like Tom Brady's already proven it everywhere he goes by making the NFC Championship game. Worth noting, the Bucks are going to be without Antonio Brown in the NFC Championship game. That was announced today, so I know that's Tom Brady's boy, and that was part of their three-headed monster at receiver that they have going with Godwin, Evans, and Brown. So we'll see how that impacts the game. Over in the AFC, I mentioned that first meeting. I wanted to give you that really was a blowout. I don't know if you remember this, but it was a primetime game, and the Buccaneers beat the Packers 38-10.
Oh shit, I did not remember that.
That was like a game where everything went wrong for Aaron Rodgers. It looked like it was like one of those games where you somehow, if you just watch that game, you'd be floored that they made the 1 seed. But it was like their
fluke game,
one awful game of this season. Yeah.
How many times did Aaron Rodgers call for roughing the passer in that game?
Absolutely an incredible amount. This is like the number one. This is the number one game for asking for flags that you could possibly get in the NFL. Like, the only person that even rivals Aaron Rodgers that expects a flag or just yells in general, Tom Brady. You got
for sure.
Aaron ask for a flag. Rodgers every time he has a negative player hits the deck versus Tom yell at my teammates Brady, but everybody calls me a good teammate or a fiery teammate instead. Over to the AFC Championship game, the number 1 seed Chiefs will face the number 2 seed Bills. The Chiefs are 3-point favorites at home. I'm going with the Chiefs in this one, especially with Mahomes cleared from concussion protocol. Obviously, it would have been an entirely different pick if he wasn't playing because he's just that incredible. So I am going pretty chalk. I picked Chiefs, Packers, kind of what I expected. Just talking to friends and heading into the playoffs was kind of what I figured was going to happen as we were approaching the end of the season. They just looked like far and away the better team. So kind of sticking to my guns here. I wouldn't be surprised if this game goes the other way, just like the other one. Obviously, I'm not saying anything crazy here, but I do think the Bills were the best setup to beat the Chiefs. Obviously, the Browns had a huge opportunity last week that they missed out on, but I'm going Packers-Chiefs, pretty chalk, 1 seeds in both.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. The Bills have been really fun to watch also this year. Shout out to Josh Allen, man. After losing to Deshaun last year in the playoffs, this dude has become an entirely different player. Like, I just remember, I love the Bills Mafia, actually, by the way, to an extent. After getting the tailgate with those, like, fucking weirdos last year during the playoffs, we had a blast. But, since Mahomes is playing, I feel like they're just going to get that work. I think during that game, I just remember being like, if Josh Allen could pass, this game would be like 30-0 right now. And he couldn't, and that's the only reason we came back and won, was he couldn't throw the fucking ball at all. And now that's like the only thing he does. Like he passed first.
I tell you, in a copycat league, this is going to be the trend. Go get yourself a number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
If you have a young quarterback, that's even more, I was talking about earlier, Odell to the Ravens makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
Lamar Jackson, get this man a number 1 receiver, and every other team that's done that has thrived. The big difference, what's the only difference on the Bills is, especially on offense, it's they got Stephon Diggs. And now Josh Allen has a favorite target. Diggs had a career year, like top of the league. It is a huge deal when you get a young quarterback, a go-to player, because it just opens everything up for them. They pass the ball so much, and part of the reason is they got Diggs, and their bromance is real. Like, it seems very real.
For sure. It's just like how how the Texans gave Kyler his number one receiver. And, they just like, we don't need one. So they're just going to give Kyler his.
That was unfortunately the other example. I didn't want to bring that one up.
Yeah, it's all right. I just did it for you.
I mean, okay, that's kind of a nice segue. We're talking about a team like the Texans with a head coaching vacancy. So last episode, Vish and I talked about the best and worst job openings. Well, since then, all but one of those jobs has been filled by candidates. We talked about it a little bit earlier with my little mini rant about the lack of minority candidates. But I wanted to get your take on the best head coaching hire, the vacancies, and what the hell, we might just do a worst head coaching hire as well. I'm going to put you on the spot on that one a little. But before we do that, I wanted to give a little update, just in case you forgot, since these names are so fucking unknown. The head coaching hires, the vacancies. The Jags hired, go Bucks, by the way, Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
They were seemingly courting him for a while. That Shad Khan was like, all you ever heard about was him going after Urban Meyer. The Eagles hired Nick Sirianni. We've mentioned him earlier. Sorry to his family if we're ripping him. I don't know.
Hashtag who?
We honestly don't.
Yeah.
I mean, sound it, Snoop. Who? The Jets hired Robert Saleh. The Falcons hired Arthur Smith. He's offensive coordinator for Tennessee. We mentioned him a couple times earlier. The LA Chargers hired the defensive coordinator from the LA Rams, Brandon Staley. Lions hired Dan Eat Your Kneecaps Off Campbell. And the one team that still has a vacancy is the Houston Texans.
Bravo.
Your pick for best head coaching hire of those vacancies that I just mentioned.
I probably have to go with Arthur Smith, probably, because I think the Titans' offense was just so fucking like relentless. Like, no matter how many times we would score on them, they always had an answer. And I just thought their play calling was really innovative. And I think the way the league's going, you got to hire offense now. Like, I think offensive coordinators becoming head coaches is like the smart trend, and you hire a really airtight DC. With the right DC, I think they could probably make some noise this year, especially Breeze is gone probably, and hopefully Brady finally retires. Like, if he wins a ring, I think he'll retire. But other than that, I think he'll be back. Robert Saleh rules just because, it's like the first Muslim head coach ever. And, as Brown boys, we got to root for that shit. That's awesome.
Amen.
The rest of the coaching hires are pretty underwhelming. Urban Meyer is pretty intriguing. I think it's cool that he's going to the NFL. I don't think he's going to be that great. But, and they've kind of left the door open for the Texans to make the right choice, but I've already prepared for them to make the wrong choice. So, and also if Deshaun gets traded, I think Vish might have mentioned this last week. I'm gonna purchase a bootleg jersey of whatever team he gets traded to, and I will be signing a free agent bandwagon contract with that team for as long as Deshaun's contract, is.
Wow, you heard it here first. You got two Texans fans leaving the ship if they fuck up with Deshaun.
For sure.
Although, for what it's worth, they will have an opportunity to hire Eric Bieniemy, and
you'd think,
we'll see if it's too little, too late. I mean, shout out JoJo. My favorite hire is Robert Saleh. You mentioned him. He seemed like he was destined for a head coaching job. I thought I was prepared to hear his name last offseason, but I also kind of love that job because they have a lot of flexibility. There isn't too much pressure on him. He's a defensive guy. He can hire a really good offensive coordinator, kind of vice versa, what we were just saying. But he seems like a player's coach, kind of like the same.
For sure.
Reminds me a little bit of like how Mike Tomlin is with the Steelers. Like, it just seems like people love playing for him. And he's a hype guy on the sidelines. He's just like, anytime you see a Niners game, he's like, that holdback coach is like all over him because he gets so pumped up. And I love when a coach shows emotions, like, which is so ironic coming from the team. I went from Mr. Clapper, Jason Garrett, to Mike McCarthy, who just stands there stoic, like nothing is happening while he fucks everything up. But I love the Robert
You couldn't
Saleh
let an
one.
entire episode go by without one pot shot.
What it do,
Yeah,
baby?
fuck that, man. I agree with you with the Urban Meyer hire. I know he did his research. He's very adamant about that. It is a nice gig to go. Like, you get to start fresh. They have so much capital. They have the number 1 pick, obviously, which they'd be a fool to not take Trevor Lawrence. We've talked about that before. But I just think it's going to be very interesting with how these pan out. Like, Dan Campbell he seems like just like a player's coach, and he's going to need to hire both, like a good offensive coordinator and a good defensive coordinator. I like getting one that's really good at one, and then you can let your opposite. So like Robert Saleh's case, you can let an offensive coordinator essentially just manage that half of the team. I think like Sean McVay's done that with the Rams. He barely touches the defense. He pretty much just coaches the offense and does situational things.
And
but
I think the best comparison for Robert Saleh is like probably Vrabel. This guy has like this insane offensive staff, and Vrabel's like a defensive players guy, and he just seems like he's really fucking animated and has a lot of fun coaching, and the players love him. So
I do agree with you. I like the Arthur Smith hire because he's like resurrected Ryan Tannehill's career, and he really does play to their strengths. The thing I'd get nervous about in Atlanta is like he's coming from a team that was run dominant, and Atlanta doesn't have a great roster for that. The lucky part is he has an opportunity to kind of press reset if he wants to. Like Matt Ryan could be on his way out. Similar to, we talked about Dan Campbell, but he can have a blank slate if he really wants to. If he moves on from Matthew Stafford, it could be a brand new team that they have going.
Yeah.
So, which I'd almost want to do as a coach, because then maybe you're not held to like a crazy standard, like you're expected to make the playoffs right away.
Yeah.
I would kind of like that little leeway to get things restarted. So maybe that was a factor in someone like Urban Meyer taking that Jags job. It's like, hey, we're not expecting you to make the playoffs yet. You can put your own stamp on it. We'll give you time. Kind of like how the Niners did years ago. With Shanahan and Lynch as GM.
Yeah.
They gave him time to build that program, so to speak.
It's been pretty solid, And I mean, Stafford and Ryan are, I think their ceilings have already been reached. So I don't think Ryan's ever going to get back to the Super Bowl. I don't think Stafford's ever going to get to the second round of the playoffs. So
Stafford is very much like, he is one of those players, and I have a really good friend that's a Lions fan. I think if they see him go, like they love Stafford, they want to see him go to a contender. He very much reminds me of how Cowboys fans were with like people like DeMarcus Ware or even Tony Romo. Before he went to his TV gig, it was like rumors, would he go to a different team, a contender? They want to see that happen because Stafford he falls under the radar because it's Detroit, but he can still ball. I would keep my eye out with someone like him in Indianapolis. Or New England seems like a popular choice.
Colts would be a great fit for him.
Because I can't see the Texans letting Deshaun go to the Colts. Like, I know that's a possibility and makes a lot of sense with Phillip Rivers retiring, him and his bolo ties. Okay, I wanted to get your take. You thought of this, and I thought it was very worthy. We kind of hinted at it just now. Which team will your boy Deshaun Watson be suiting up for next season?
Okay. I am going to stay strong, and I'm going to say he's going to be a Houston Texan next year. Because
let's go. I like it.
Because, one, I would love to continue rooting for my hometown team. I do not want to bandwagon the fucking 49ers or the fucking Dolphins. And, I like that you mentioned the Colts. You said you don't see the Texans trading Deshaun to the Colts. I didn't see the Texans doing a lot of things. So it would actually be ideal if he went to the Colts just so I could see Deshaun destroy the fucking Texans twice a year. Like, that would be hilarious to me. And I would wear a Colts jersey. And I've spent the last, 18 years hating the fucking Colts. And I'm just going to switch ships like this. I don't care. If Deshaun is gone, I'm gone. But I do think that I'm going to put a positive hubris around this shit just because I'm This fucker Cal McNair can't be this tone deaf and can't be this stupid. I know he reads the comments. I know he's like looking at all these social media posts and all this stuff. It's just like, I think he's like finally under the threat of losing season ticket holders and doing all this stuff because Houston's such a football town that no matter what the Texans have done, they've sold out every game at NRG and all these like money related things that allow them to look over winning basically. And so if they traded Deshaun, they're going to literally hear – like Deshaun had to go on Twitter in the last week and be like, hey, guys, don't protest. Like they organized a protest from his fucking sandwich shop, which is like 2 blocks away, to NRG, which is also the dumbest thing ever. But Deshaun had to get on Twitter to be like, hey, guys, we're in a pandemic. Please don't do that. And it's just like the fact that he did that, I was like – maybe he's still – I mean, I know Deshaun wants to be here because he just seems to love Houston. Like, Houston fits his personality, blah, 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 whatever. You don't want to see – I mean, Miami would be lit for a dude like Deshaun. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, I don't think he wants to go to the 49ers. I don't think he wants to go to the Colts. Houston's a very cool city to be in for someone like Deshaun who just, like, has, like cool lifestyle, He's, like – very into the culture of Houston and the community, and he does a lot of cool work, and he's opening sandwich shops, and I think he wants to be here, but I think he wants the team to make the right moves, and I think that they're going to make the right move. Now that all these head coaching things have filled out, I really think they're going to hire Bieniemy just like to appease him. I don't think they're going to do it for the right reasons. Don't get me wrong. Like, they had to be forced to basically even request a fucking interview from the guy, and I think they'll hire him or someone that Deshaun likes, and we'll see what Caserio can do. I mean, he's built some pretty great teams. So, I mean, at this point, I got to have faith, but I don't. So, whatever. It is what it is.
All right. I'm going to put some positive energy, too. I'm going to say the Texans, but I do want to give a caveat to maybe some teams I would consider if I were the Texans. It would be pretty – I mean, Miami would be cool, but it'd be interesting because the Texans would get back their own pick, seemingly.
Which is hilarious.
If they made that trade, like, yeah, it'd be kind of funny to think, like, wow, what are we doing here? Obviously, they would get more picks than just that number 3 that's actually theirs, but that would be kind of funny. So I'm going to say the Texans. I think they do find a way to make it right. And maybe Deshaun can have them pull some other strings, get him back a fucking number 1 receiver.
Yep.
Let him thrive some more. This dude is putting up historic numbers, responsible for like some absurd percentage of their team's yards. Is like 83% of their yards or something like that. And you could tell how much it meant to him when he got his extension. That was just back in September, by the way, in case you guys forgot.
Feels like 3 years
his
ago.
Emotional press conference. It feels like that long ago, but he just got paid by them. So to the point that they fucked it up is it's actually insane how badly they fucked it up. Like, he didn't ask them. I know you guys have ranted about this. He didn't ask to be part of this. They literally overpromised something and then didn't even deliver on any part of it. So I have to feel like some action. I think eventually Deshaun will answer the phone. I know he's dodging their calls right now, but I think they'll make the right hire. It might be for the wrong reasons, like you said, but I'm definitely like alternatives. I'm looking at a team like the Dolphins. I would also, I know this has been said a lot, the Jets should absolutely try to make that call because they have picks that they can offer, and they would get a franchise quarterback and have the capital to give back. So they could start with the new coach and build a team around Deshaun, go get a receiver. There's a huge crop of them in the free agency, or there's so many in the draft this year too.
Jets jerseys are ugly though, man.
Yeah, their rebrand was rough.
They're pretty ugly.
I mean, I like the color green they picked, but it's like, man, I wish they would just do like focus groups. Like, just go to like
that block text
fucking
is just
like
horrendous.
People who have an eye for it.
Yeah,
just go to people that know this stuff. Like, get some fresh eyes on it. I don't know. Some of these teams make the stupidest decisions.
A Deshaun Dolphins jersey would be pretty icy though. That'd be pretty icy. Yeah.
That green is nice.
It's dope.
All right, what you feeling lately?
You know, this is kind of a slow time of year for music, just because it's like the top of the year. People aren't releasing music. I've been listening to a lot of albums from last year that I didn't really touch on. We're listening to this album by a band called Movements. It's called No Good Left to Give. It's great. I've also been listening to a lot of deep house. Don't ask. I fell into this wormhole of like deep house music for whatever reason, and I guess it's working with the vibes around Houston lately. But other than that, I've been doing this 30-day yoga challenge at my studio, and it's basically doing one class a day at least for 30 days straight. And so I'm on day 22, and we're going strong, baby. And you know, I'm finding out that I can do a lot of things in my old creaky age, you know, in this body. So shout out to me.
I gotta tell you, I've been doing some basic yoga stuff just on like Nike Training Club app, and I'm fucking washed, man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
but
man.
I figured you'd be proud of me. I done a little bit.
Yeah, man, it's amazing what the human body can do, and I mean, age shouldn't be a factor. I see people come into the studio, they're like, this dude who goes to like, you know, 2 classes a day, he's like in his 60s, and dude's in like crazy shape. So it's just like, yeah, man, it's pretty awesome. Definitely recommend it. No New Year's resolution this year. This was my only New Year's resolution, was to do this 30-day challenge. So I'm free in February.
All right, I dig it.
Yeah.
All right, as for what I'm feeling, I got a few things. First, our vice president is a woman, is a black woman, is a South Asian woman.
Let's go,
so that's
baby.
freaking incredible.
Yes, sir.
It feels pretty damn good to say that. Vice President Harris is our vice president.
Kamalante, man.
Outside, yeah, Kamalante, baby. You know what it is. Also, I got a couple good recent movie recommendations. It feels weird because like we're starting to approach time of Oscars, and I don't know how it's gonna work. I usually try to watch. My wife and I usually try to watch all those movies, as you number one podcast listeners know. I'm trying to anticipate these good ones coming out so that I can kind of report back and be ahead of the curve. I'm assuming most of them will be on streaming services, so that's kind of like the new normal this year. But I do have a few good ones for you number one podcast listeners in case you missed them. First one is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It's on Netflix. Viola Davis and rest in peace Chadwick Boseman are absolutely incredible in that movie. I would be highly surprised if Chadwick Boseman does not get nominated for an Oscar for his job in that movie. It is truly incredible. Along those same lines, One Night in Miami is on Amazon Prime. It is Regina King's directorial debut. If you look up who Regina King is, you've probably seen many things she's been in. She's very familiar if you don't already know her, but this movie is also incredible. Also incredible Black history movie. It's based on a play, so I think Ma Rainey's Black Bottom it is also based on a play, so highly recommend both those. And then most recently, I just saw White Tiger that's on Netflix, and it takes place in India, so shout out India again. Kamala Aunty to White Tiger.
Perfect.
So those are 3 movies that I think will at least be in contention, and they're all accessible for most of us, so those are 3 I definitely recommend lately.
Rock on, man. Sounds good. I need to watch those.
Yes, sir.
I'm not good at keeping up with movies anymore, but I'm going to watch all 3 of those.
Yeah, they're good stuff, man.
I did watch Soul, though.
Good celebration of culture. Soul was incredible, too.
Yeah.
I think Vish talked about that.
Yeah, he did. I watched it after. I actually watched it after that episode, and I was like, wow, that movie was fantastic.
It was. I mean, Pixar never misses, so.
Facts.
All right, now it's time for my Too Much Sense. You know how I like to end each episode. A little bit of wisdom knowledge for your number one podcast headphones. So last episode I talked about, my usual New Year's resolution, not hating on them, but I wanted to remind you all, kind of like a little mantra to have. 2021 is a fresh start. I would request, you don't have to listen to me, but please do. I would request that you guys focus on the positives in your life and have faith good is coming your way. If you're putting out good, even if you hadn't had too much good lately, I believe in you. Number one podcast listeners, you should believe in you. And that's my Too Much Sense for this week. Not really advice, but kind of just like that inner voice in your head. Maybe you'll hear my voice in your head beyond the number one podcast in your headphones. So That's my too much sense for this week.
Very motivational. Love it, man.
You know how I do it.
Yes, sir.
But that wraps up another edition of the #1 podcast in your headphones, Prem Brulee. Thought we were going on another hiatus. You thought. We're going to keep this regular. I tried to make that a promise to you, so I will continue attempting to do that. I want to thank you, Rosh, for joining me.
Yes, sir. My pleasure, man.
Appreciate you for being on here.
Love being on here.
Yes, sir. Microphone therapy.
Yes, sir.
And we will talk to you, #1 podcast listeners, next time. Peace.
Peace.